let's go over the course details for classes coming up as we go through. This will really help you as we start out in the process going through. Here's a description of a course. This course is college level about how traditional business functions are influenced by global cultures, geography, economics, technology, and globalization. Really, it is a positive course, especially in today's environment. We have an evaluation of both domestic and foreign economic and business issues, international trade, a whole topic on foreign currency exchange, global finance markets, and a lot of things about global economic and cultural diversities as we go through. It plays an awful large part because of the fact that we'll be dealing with foreign cultures that are different from us, except for the fact at the end of the day, we have to build solid relationships. There's 12 actually what we call student learning objectives. And as you go through these, you'll find these in the syllabus as well. It really deals a lot about culture, geography, and technology, different kinds of economic systems, and there's several of them that are mixtures of different ones of them. We'll talk about different kinds of import-export controls that go through, a little bit about how marketing plans on the international basis are different than domestic as we go through. Talk about the aspect of non-tariff barriers. By the way, there's a lot of them, even though you say, we have free trade, it's never free as you go through the process because every country is looking out for that country's personal interest. We'll look at a lot of different aspects as we go through, learning these 12 different learning objectives as you go through. You have to have access to Canvas. That's a given, and you get that when you register here at Irvine Valley College. In the textbook, I link stuff from what we call Connect. Our textbook comes from McGraw-Hill, and they have a software package, and their software package is called Connect, and that's where I build the homework assignments. You have to have Connect to be successful in this class. The aspect of the Connect normally comes with an ebook in the package you can get relatively inexpensively. I always recommend through the bookstore because that's the only source I know where you can make certain that you get the textbook and the Connect package, or you can go directly to McGraw-Hill and get it all 100% electronic online as you go. You have to have Connect, though, to pass this class. And here's a couple different things. There's your ISBN numbers as you go through. On the emails, when you go through, make certain you tell me what class that you're in and the section number. Give me your name when you drop me an email, as well as Management 68, and our section number is 60405 as you go through. Put that in every email. That gives me a basis to understand where you're coming from as you go through. We're going to have a lot of announcements on Canvas, so watch Canvas as you go through. I like to communicate. You know, I'd rather over-communicate than under-communicate as you go through. Never submit assignments by email, but of course, you probably already know that. I'm just reminding you, they should be posted on Canvas. And by the way, keep your emails brief, get to the point, and that way you and I can communicate really well as we go through, make sure it's always appropriate. And here's something to think about with class, not just this one, but every class in college. For every hour that you have in class, and this is a 3-credit-hour class, you should plan on spending 2 hours outside of class on different topics as you go through. And I'll talk about the kinds of topics we'll be studying about. But in essence, we're talking 3 hours, and 3 hours times 2, that's 9 hours a week you should plan on spending for that. And I want you to sit down and be participatory, engaged. We're going to do some group exercises, even though this class, we meet at different times in the process as we go through, and there's going to be a lot of active class engagement as we go through. Access to Canvas. Now, by the way, this phone number down here, I would recommend you put that in your phone and you keep it as well as that. We have a top-notch tech department at IVC. They help a lot of students and they do a very thorough job. If something goes wrong on Canvas, contact them. There's the way to contact them Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 6 as you go through. If something goes wrong with the Homework Connect, you can go through and contact this number here. They're excellent as you go through. So between myself, the IVC Help Desk, and the McGraw-Hill Connect, you have 3 different ways to sit down and get help to make certain you're fully supported as you go through. This class is called asynchronous. Asynchronous means, first of all, take off the A and you have synchronous. Synchronous means you all meet at the same time. But wait a minute. This is asynchronous. When you put an A in front of a lot of words, it comes from the Greek alphabet, which means non. So this is a non-synchronous class. In other words, you get to meet separately at your own time as you go through. So that being said, whatever you want, you can sit down and take the lessons. Then there's certain due dates to meet. But if you want to be up at midnight watching this, hey, more power to you. Or if you want to do it first thing in the morning or in the afternoon, whatever works for you. But I broke this up into thing that I call a pod class. No, not a podcast, a pod class. I take each chapter and I chop it up into pieces as we go through. You might have 3, 4, or 5 different segments of a chapter. Let's say we take chapter 5 and we go through, we have 5 different components to it. I'll have a component 2 about culture on top of that. So there may be 4 or 5 different things as you go through. You'll see them listed in your module as you go through. And you're going to have a couple different ways of doing it. You can either go on your Canvas page and watch them all synchronously. I post them so you can see them first thing Monday morning. You can do them all at one time, or I actually send them to you in a version of an announcement, typically at 7 o'clock in the morning. No, you don't have to watch them at 7. You can watch them whenever you want. But normally, let's say, for instance, you go through chapter 1 and it's got 6 segments to it. So I take the 6 segments, you get one little segment at 7 o'clock Monday morning, another one at 3 o'clock Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you'll get an announcement at 7 o'clock. You can actually sit there, watch it on your phone, and that way you can absorb it at your own way in your own time as you go through. It's a pod class, little components of the class, bite-sized pieces for maximum retention. So something different that I'm trying out so far has been fabulously successful. I hope it is for you as well. Here's our graded activities. We have a lot of them. Don't feel they're overwhelmed. Typically, you're going to get about 3 different major activities every single week. You're always going to have what I call the module every single week. And there's, because 15 weeks in our schedule we have here, you'll get a modular assignment for some of them, and then our modular assessment for the other ones. So you always have a module. You always have a module assignment or assessment. You'll also get a thing called an application-based activity, which deals with a lot of it mapping, identifying different regions of the world. And they also created something called an international crisis or opportunity, where I go through and I grab film clips of different news events that are happening, and we sit down there and we analyze them. The first one you get to do on your own, but then we're going to start building groups, and we're going to have a lot of fun with what I call the ICOs, International Crisis Opportunity, as we go through, because you're going to meet as teams and present as teams in different things from different perspectives. Let's say, for instance, one of them is about wine. The Chinese decided they would ban the Australian wine because of the Chinese government's doing this over here. What do we do? What do we do? So I want a perspective from the Chinese delegation, the Australian delegation, and let's have a delegation from the Australian wine. But let's look at the competition, because this is about international business. What about the French wine? Maybe this is an opportunity for the French to sit down there and get a bigger share of the Chinese wine market. What about the Americans? But wait a minute, the Americans are allied strongly with Australia. Should they intervene? Should they try to grab Australian market share? It'll be a very interesting thing as we go through and look as to how the international world really sits down and interacts in the world of business. We're going to have some discussion boards, except I'm going to try to put a little bit more spice as we go through it and make it more interesting, the topics. There's 5 of them, but not all of them are going to do with just a normal discussion board. We're going to have some interesting international topics as we go through. There's 4 tests, and I dropped the lowest one in the process, so only the 3 highest count as you go through. And of course, we have a celebration of learning. Shh. That's code for final as we go through. So we have a series of different things. I'm going to try to keep this class lively as we go through. Pay attention to the due dates. And then if it's late, you get at least 25% knocked off. By the way, I have a secret rule of 4. In other words, life intervenes sometimes. If something happens and you don't get something done on time, you can always drop me an email and ask for an extension on assignment, and I'll give it to you up to 4 times. I track them as you go through, because I don't want you taking advantage of this little extra thing that I give you in the process. So that being said, I call it the rule of 4. So you get up to 4 different extensions on it. Otherwise, you get the points knocked off on late assignments. By the way, as you go through, make certain that it's your work. Don't do something ridiculous like trying to copy somebody else's stuff. I had somebody copy somebody's answer off a discussion board. That I don't want that happening in this class at all. I want your opinion and your straight back feedback as you go through in the process with your own answers as we go through. Drop policy. If life interferes and you, for some reason, you cannot complete this class, it is up to you to drop the class. Otherwise, we're going through the class, we got 15 weeks, week 10, something happens, you have to sit down there and leave the country, go do this, you have a job that you have to stop working and just focus 100% on the 80-hour-a-week job, whatever it may be, drop the class, or don't leave it to me, because by the time it's done, if I don't know about it, you'll end up getting an F in the class. Don't do that, because an F in your college record is not a good thing. Makes you honest in the whole process, every single part of it. The only part we're going to really meet each other on is really online, and I expect you to sit down and be constructive. My rule is always dignity and respect. Treat everybody that way. That being said, I'm looking forward to having a great class this semester and getting to know each one of you better on a more personal basis as we go through this exciting topic about international business. Take care.